Today, we're gonna make an iconic cocktail from the 80s with a notorious name, the Sex on the Beach. It's fun, it's fruity, it's simple, and it's a cocktail that people still order today. Now, nobody really knows where this drink came from, but there are some stories about its origin. And the most popular and sort of widely accepted is that there was a bartender who worked in Florida, and his name was Ted Pizio. And he was competing in a contest to see who could sell the most peach schnapps. So he came up with this drink and ended up naming it the Sex on the Beach because, those were two things that were on the minds of a lot of the spring breakers that were coming down and visiting the bars. Now, nobody really knows if that was the origins of the drink. In fact, there's some evidence that it wasn't because the name Sex on the Beach was mentioned in a cocktail recipe book that dates earlier in the 80s, before Ted ever entered that contest. But what we do know is that this drink is definitely an 80s throwback. And that was a time when essentially every single highball that you would drink had a name. And there was a lot of vodka and juice being consumed together. And the Sex on the Beach fits perfectly into that genre. In fact, it's just a blend of two common highballs. The first being a fuzzy navel, which is just orange juice and peach schnapps. And the second is a Cape Codder, which is vodka and cranberry juice. So that's essentially all the ingredients: vodka, peach schnapps, cranberry juice, and orange juice. And the drink is super easy to make. So to begin, we just start with our glass, and any glass will do. I'm using a Collins glass. You just want to make sure that it's around 10 ounces. Now, we're going to be building the cocktail over ice in the glass. You could shake this drink and strain it over fresh ice. That's perfectly fine. But I'm just eliminating that step because it's a simple drink and we want to keep it as simple as possible. So we'll just fill the glass with ice, and then we'll begin adding our ingredients. So we'll start with our vodka, and we'll add 1.5 ounces to the glass. Then we'll add peach schnapps, 1/2 ounce. And next you want to add the orange juice. And I'm using fresh squeezed orange juice here. You don't have to do that. If you want something a little bit more 80s authentic, just go ahead and use something from concentrate. But if you do use fresh squeeze, make sure you double strain it to get the pulp out. We'll add 1.5 ounces to the glass. And then finally, the cranberry juice. Now, I like to be a little bit more careful with the cranberry juice. You're not going to get a great layered effect, but it is going to kind of stay separate from the orange juice. And some people like those swirls in the cocktail. We're going to add 1.5 ounces. And then it's time to garnish the drink. And for that, we are going to slice an orange. I usually go with a nice thick slice, and a cocktail cherry. Set that orange on the top there and pierce it with the cherry. And we'll give it a straw, and that is a Sex on the Beach. It's been about, 20 years since somebody ordered one of these things from me. Fruity, peach. That's what I taste, is the peach schnapps. Maybe that makes the origin story just that much more believable, because if you wanted to highlight the peach schnapps, this is definitely the drink that does that. It's a vodka drink. You can't really taste the vodka in there, but you do have the juicy fruity blend, and it's pink, and it's a pink drink. So who doesn't love a pink drink? I know that I ordered one of these at some point in time, like maybe back in 2001, and it tastes just like it did back then. It is one of those drinks from the 80s that is probably never going to die, and it's probably the name, Sex on the Beach. It just sells. Sex on the Beach sells. Is that okay for me to say on YouTube? I don't even know. Well, this was kind of a silly episode, I guess. But hey, now you know how to make a Sex on the Beach, and I say give it a shot. If you've never had one, definitely. And also, if you haven't liked this episode, give that a shot. Or subscribe to my channel, give that a shot too. Anyway, I don't have anything else to say about this. Thanks for watching, and on to the next drink. Cheers. I feel like every single drink channel has to have a sex on the beach. So this is mine. I did it. Done. It's over. Bye.